The 2024 U.S. presidential election is heating up like never before, as Donald Trump and Kamala Harris go head-to-head in one of the most unpredictable and high-stakes races in modern history. With just 3 weeks until voters hit the polls, political experts are weighing in, and the polls are razor close. Both candidates have paths to victory, but with key trends emerging, this race is set to be a nail-biter until the very end. Will Trump reclaim the White House, or will Harris make history? Let's dive into what could be the final showdown. It's fascinating how tight the race has become. At this point, every small move could sway the outcome, and neither side seems to have a clear upper hand. This uncertainty will keep people on the edge of their seats until Election Day. Some commentators believe that Donald Trump holds a slight advantage as the election nears. They attribute this to two key mistakes made by Harris's campaign. First, her team failed to effectively introduce her to the public early on, leaving many voters unsure of her political positions. Second, the campaign adopted a defensive strategy, aiming to protect its early lead instead of building on it. As a result, Trump has gained ground, transforming a significant Harris lead into a tightly contested race. With the current momentum, many feel that the race is now Trump's to lose, although unexpected events could still change the dynamics. It's interesting that some experts view the Harris campaign as too cautious. It seems like playing it safe might have backfired, allowing Trump to close the gap. But anything could still happen in the coming weeks. On the other hand, other writers maintain that Kamala Harris remains in a strong position to win. Since August, she has consistently led in national polls, albeit by a slim margin. She also maintains small but steady leads in several key battleground states, suggesting she could surpass the crucial 270 electoral votes needed to secure the presidency. Nevertheless, Harris has faced criticism for not distancing herself from President Biden on controversial issues like immigration, which could have broadened her appeal. Some worry that even a slight polling error or unforeseen event might give Trump an unexpected advantage unless Harris can expand her base in these final weeks. Harris's steady lead in key states seems like a strong sign, but it's concerning that she hasn't broadened her appeal on some important issues. This might come back to haunt her if undecided voters break for Trump. Recent polls have shown a shift in momentum toward Trump, raising concerns for Harris supporters. Trump's campaign appears to have more energy, with large rallies and increased media visibility. Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz, have made changes to their media strategy, which suggests they may be worried about their current approach. Cultural references, like Saturday Night Live's satirical portrayals of the Harris campaign, point to the perception that her campaign has lost some footing. In what some are calling a vibes election, the perception is that Trump's momentum could carry him through the final stretch. Media appearances and public perception really seem to matter in this race. It's telling that even comedy shows are picking up on the vibe that Harris's campaign is struggling to maintain momentum. A key issue driving voter decisions is the economy. Some analysts argue that if voters focus on economic matters, Harris could benefit. The stock market has been strong, unemployment rates are low, and inflation has been brought under control, factors that could play to Harris's advantage. However, for many voters, this election is less about policy and more about rejecting Donald Trump. With a controversial record that includes 2 impeachments and involvement in the January 6th insurrection, Trump may give voters more reason to choose Harris. For those simply looking to avoid another Trump presidency, Harris could offer a safe alternative. The economy is usually a huge factor in elections, and it seems Harris has a good story to tell here. However, with Trump's polarizing reputation, it's possible voters might base their decision more on personality and past actions than on policy. Despite Trump's numerous controversies, his continued competitiveness in the race has surprised many. Some experts are struck by how Trump has managed to stay neck and neck with Harris, given his tumultuous history. Trump's ability to maintain support from key demographic groups, including Hispanic and Black voters, has surprised political observers. His resilience, despite legal challenges and past missteps, suggests that his appeal remains strong within certain voter blocs. It's really surprising that Trump has been able to keep pace with Harris, given everything that has happened during his political career. His ability to attract diverse voters is something that few predicted at this stage. Ultimately, the race remains too close for any expert to predict with certainty. Trump's past missteps appear to have been largely accepted by his core supporters, and many feel that his base is unlikely to abandon him at this point. Meanwhile, Harris has struggled to maintain excitement around her Politics of Joy campaign, and some voters view her as too cautious. If Harris cannot shift the race dynamics soon, Trump could gain further ground, particularly in key swing states like Michigan and Pennsylvania, which could be pivotal in determining the election outcome. It's interesting to see how the dynamics of the race could still shift. Both candidates seem locked in, but there's always room for a surprise, especially in such volatile states as Michigan and Pennsylvania. As Election Day approaches, many experts agree that the final result will likely hinge on each campaign's ability to mobilize voters. A well-executed Get Out the Vote (GOTV) campaign could tip the scales by as little as 0.5% to 1.5%, which in a tight race could be the deciding factor. Harris is seen as having the edge in this area with a more established GOTV operation and a significant financial advantage. If her campaign can successfully turn out high-propensity voters, she stands a good chance of winning. However, Trump's campaign is also working hard to mobilize his supporters, making the outcome anything but certain. GOTV efforts are often underestimated, but they can be game changers in tight elections. Harris's financial advantage may help, but it's clear both sides are fighting hard to get their voters to the polls.